me know if this sounds familiar. It's a beautiful day. Your puppy's wide awake and in an energetic mood. So you head out on a walk, but then she puts on the brakes and won't walk. This reluctance to walk on a leash can actually be really frustrating for humans. After all, what can be more natural than taking the dog for a walk? In fact, it's not natural at all. Walking nicely on a leash is not an instinctual behavior for a dog. So we have to teach it. That's the topic of today's video. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Now, before we dive into these great leash tips, I need to give you a little disclaimer here. Now, the information I'm going to give you today refers to young dogs. I'm talking about puppies who are 10, 12, or even 16 weeks old. Dogs who are starting to go out on walks and explore the world often exhibit this hesitancy or stopping and refusing to walk. And if you're seeing this reluctance to walk from an older dog, it's a lot more complicated to dissect. There could have been some past negative experience, the dog might be experiencing pain, or something else entirely. If you and your older dog are in this situation, you're going to want to consult a certified trainer who uses positive reinforcement. And if you need help finding one, drop a comment below and we can give you the link to a directory. Keep watching for good tips, but just remember that your older dog might have more going on than these young puppies I'm talking about today. Okay, back to those puppies. Let's start with the why your pup isn't walking well on the leash. Now, there are 4 main reasons for stopping or refusing. Number 1, overwhelm with the environment. Number 2, frustration with the tool like the leash or the collar. Number 3, fear. And number 4, lacking motivation. Now, it's good to think about which one of these your puppy might be experiencing, but don't get too hung up on all that because the tips I'm going to give you today are going to work for all of them. Now, if you haven't started your leash skills training with desensitization to the collar or the leash, then that's the place to start. And if your puppy is scratching while wearing a harness or a collar or biting on the leash, desensitization is definitely a step you missed. Now, I have some great games you can play as part of my online course that will help you and your puppy feel better about these tools. And if you're seeing pancaking, like simply stopping and sitting or laying down, this is probably the fear or overwhelm I mentioned. The outside world is filled with new sights and sounds and a lot of smells. This is a lot for a young dog to process, and she simply has to stop and take it all in. It's like if I offered you a piece of pizza while on a roller coaster. No thanks, not right now, I'm kind of busy. Sometimes we like things, but we just don't want them at that moment. It's also possible that your dog simply isn't motivated to go out into the world or tolerate this new leash or harness or collar. And if you haven't done a lot to teach your dog that good things happen outside or good things happen while on a leash, she simply has no reason to do well with it. That's why you're going to want to be generous with treats and food when first starting leash skills. And if you reward her a lot while teaching it, the behaviors become habits and then you can back off of the rewards once she's comfortable with the walking. Now, let's make sure you and I are on the same page with the purpose of this walk. So here are a few myths about dog walks that I hear from some puppy parents. Myth number 1, the puppy needs to keep walking. Nope. There's no reason a dog has to take a walk. That is non-stop walking. Walking is actually quite boring for the dog. The fun stuff is in the smells. Let your dog stop and smell and look around and take in the world. Now, we compare it to a dog reading a book or checking his pee mail. That leads me to myth number 2. Dogs should not do so much sniffing. Okay, a dog learns so much information from that nose, and I want you to allow as much sniffing as your dog wants. Now, if that means you take a 10-minute walk and only make it 2 houses down the street, that's totally fine. All that sniffing will make your dog a lot more tired than the actual physical walking. And you might remember this video here where we talked about exercise and the hazards of developing a super athlete. The more you walk, the more you're gonna have to walk. So you need to find the right balance of a little walking, a little sniffing, and then some cool down activities back at home. That brings me to myth number 3. Dog has to remain in a heel position. The heel position of the dog right at your side is actually very uncomfortable and not at all fun for a dog. Sure, it is fine to do it, to use it in specific situations like in crowds or when something exciting is around and you need to keep her focused on you, but it should be used for those situations and then the dog gets released back to the sniffing. Heel is not meant for a long walk with a dog. Do military marches look comfortable and relaxing? Nope. Heel is not either. It's a good skill, but it's not meant to be a default walk. Bottom line, make sure your walk is enjoyable for your dog. Now, if she's not enjoying it, she might put on those brakes and say, there's no fun in this for me, so I'm not going. Now, one last thing for you fitness buffs. I see you. I know you've got your step counters and you're hoping to fill your circles for the day. I'm gonna be blunt with you. This walk is not for you. Now, if you happen to get in some steps, that's great, but this walk is for your dog's enjoyment. Save your step counting for a solo walk with a podcast while your pup is home napping. Now, your dog will be much happier and your relationship will be much stronger if you let her enjoy the walk in her doggy way. All right. Now, if you want to train your dog to be your power walking or jogging partner, join us at the pro level of our online course, and we'll actually help you evaluate if he or she is the right fit for it and how to get her fit and ready. I'll tell you more about that in just a minute. Okay, who's loving this great advice? I hope you are. My team and I work really hard to put these videos together for you each week. If you love it and you love us, show your support by subscribing, sharing, or giving us a tip with the Super Thanks feature. Okay, all that leads us to what to work on to help the dog walk better. Now, I'm going to share 3 games with you that will help get her moving and also build your relationship. Oh, and your dog will enjoy them too. These games are designed to increase your dog's comfort in exciting or stimulating environments. Now, the first game to play is the 1, 2, 3 pattern game, originally created by Leslie McDevitt. Now in this game, you're going to be taking small steps forward with your dog at your side, and you're going to say 1, 2, and then on 3, you're putting down a treat. This helps the dog anticipate something is coming next and gets really excited about it. Now you're building a natural focus on you. She'll naturally follow you to get to that good part at 3, and when she's good at this game inside, in a quiet room, start working on it with more distractions in a slightly busier area. When she's good at the game in your backyard or your garage, you can use this game on a walk. So be sure to do it in a really quiet location, which may not be your neighborhood just yet. Remember what I always say, turn up the training dial slowly. Go at a learning pace that's comfortable and enjoyable for her. Oh, and keep those training sessions short. All right, the next game is designed to help her get comfortable with scary or exciting things. We call it the look at that. Now, it's a way to train her to look at something, have a neutral reaction to it, and then focus back on you. And after some practice, you can use it on a walk to help her have a calm reaction to things like strollers and joggers and other dogs. We play this game at a distance where the dog can see something interesting, but not so close that the dog is reacting. And if she appears completely uninterested, that's the place to start. Now, when she looks at the thing, you get her attention, which is a soft noise or maybe her name. She looks at you and then you give her a treat. When she naturally looks at the thing again, let her have a few seconds of looking, then get her attention softly and calmly, and then give her another treat. Now, this is a great game to play in your car, in the parking lot, or in a far corner of a park. The number one goal here will be to make sure she's 100% calm and relaxed, and if she's not, you are too close or the environment is too distracting. Get further away or find a better spot for this to work. We do a lot of this kind of exposure training with young puppies who are not ready for walks, but are forming opinions about the world. Now, you can get more good info about how to do it well in this amazing video on exposure. And the more you expose her to new things in a positive way, the better she will do outside with more new things. Okay, the last game is something you can use in the moment of the pancaking to try and get your dog moving again. This is a great one to practice recall as well. We call it the birthday party. Now in this game, I want you to face your dog, drop your body posture, and shuffle backwards. Now, while you do this, you're also making a fun noise, like a kissy noise. You should start this game at home, inside, before taking it outside. Now, I want you to call her name calmly, drop that body posture, and shuffle back. Her early puppy compliance and your fun body language will naturally compel her to come to you. And when she comes, she gets a treat. Now, as you start to do this in other environments, she's going to get better at it. Now, this game can help her get unstuck if she decides she's too overwhelmed about the world. Now, I would not use this as a way to make her walk further, but instead use it as a way to walk back home if she's determined she's not ready for a walk. I want to give you 3 quick things you should never do when you see this behavior. Number 1, do not force your dog to move by dragging her or pulling her. This will only worsen her association with the leash, and it could also negatively affect your relationship. Number 2, do not pick your dog up and move her. She's telling you that she's not ready for movement at that time, and you picking her up is removing her ability to make a choice. And this could lead to an aversion to humans approaching and touching her. And number 3, finally, don't label her stubborn. This will just put you in a mindset of conflict and a battle of wills. I promise you, she's not being stubborn. She's overwhelmed, she's unmotivated, and she's scared, or she doesn't know what you want her to do. But she is not stubborn. Now, I have to confess that all this good advice was an oversimplification of a complex training process. Each dog is different. Human trainers are all different, and environments in which you're working also vary dramatically. So, I can't tell you exactly why your dog is struggling, but with those tips and those 3 games, I think you can make some good progress. But what happens if you get stuck? Then what? Well, I can help you with that too. When I developed my online course, I loaded it up with leash skills games. But I also know that some people are going to want some extra guidance through this process. So, the pro level was born. And as part of this level, you can actually submit training videos for feedback. You can ask questions that we will answer. And we can talk more about your challenges on our group Zoom calls. I love helping new puppy parents with things like this, and you're going to love the personalized guidance and feedback on your specific situation. Now, if that sounds like something you could use, check out the link to my course below, and we'll work together to get you and your puppy off on the right paw. This is Michele Lennon, your puppy professional and favorite dog trainer, signing off for today.